morning, everybody. So this is my webinar number 6. And somebody can just type in one of the chat boxes or unmute your mic just to make sure you can see me and you can hear me, please. Anybody? Yeah, just unmute a mic. Oh, Sue's put a hand up there, so I guess that's a good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Well, that's right. So from that, I'll assume everybody can hear me and see me. Right, as I say, webinar number 6, this is, and let me just make a check of my settings. So this webinar has been is being recorded. So you're going to go back over it again later on, you can do. Just checking my settings there. That looks okay. You can see me, you can see my screen. Perfect. Right. So I'm going to do a quick webinar to show you to talk today about selecting objects. That's one subject, and object snaps. That's another subject. So these two topics, these subjects I'm going to cover this morning. Hopefully get through in about an hour. But if you have to disappear, as I say, it's being recorded. And if you want to know about seeing about my previous 5 webinars, they're on our website. If you go back and you want to go back and review those and have a look and see what was discussed in those. Now, I probably won't have time to take any questions in the webinar, but at the end of the webinar, there's a slide with my email address on. So if you do have questions about this or anything else to do with AutoCAD, then just drop me an email and we'll see where we go from there with it. So I'm going to run through a quick PowerPoint first of all, just to let you know a bit about me and the company and one thing and another. So my name's Steve Crow. Let's have a look at the next slide. I've been in the company now since 1989. So part of the fixtures and fittings now. Blimey, over 30 years. So there we go. And my interests cover motorbikes. I'm into my paragliding and beekeeping as well. So I've been busy with my bees this weekend, taking some money off the bees. My main role with the company nowadays is support and training. And I train the AutoCAD software and the Revit software. And then we've got overlap with other trainers who do the other software as well. So feedback from these webinars. So if I get, at the end of the webinar, you probably get to send a questionnaire, I believe you do, about whether you're any use to you, whether you're useful. So yeah, give us some feedback. Let me know what you thought of it. It always helps when I'm doing the future webinars. And there's some feedback there, look, from some of the guys on previous webinars. Webinar most useful tips ever had in any CAD webinar. How about that one from Tom? Lots of practical tips. It'll save them lots of time from Andrew there. And Dominic, it says, I'm entertaining as well. How about that? I'll keep my clothes on at this one. Okay, and then another one there. That was actually from a training course just the other week, as it happens. Steve was fantastic. Really enjoyed the course. Can't remember the last time I attended a course that imparted some real world information. It's okay learning stuff from a training manuals and going off to college and whatever. But because I'm involved with training, I know the issues that people have. So that's what I try to cover in my training courses and these webinars as well. You know, I'll give you the daily, your bread and butter stuff. So, yeah, so some good feedback there. Costing me a fortune. No. Honestly, it's freely given. Yeah, so there we go. So I work for a company called Greytech. We've got offices all over the UK, but around the UK. And the head office is in Paris in France. And we've got offices all over the world now. And as a company, we are growing and growing all the time. You know, we're buying CAD dealers up across in America, and so on. So yes, and the UK business model of all of the countries is the most successful business model. And we're rolling out the Greytech business model in the UK out in the other countries. So yeah, busy, growing all the time, which is brilliant. Let's have a look. So we're over 30 years old. I've been with the company in one guise or another for 32 years. Head office in Brive, as it says there. 11 countries, 48 offices throughout the world. And growing. There's more than that now, I believe. So, yeah. Even through this all this carry on we've been having, all this business this last year, we're still growing through all that as well. So yeah, we're doing okay as a company. Obviously, the training's taken a hit because we've been forced to close our training rooms. Saying that, some companies are quite happy for me to go in, and I'm quite happy to go into offices training. It's no bother to me. So I've been busy in some customers' offices doing some on-site training. But as a company, we've been forced to close our training rooms. But I believe they're opening up shortly. And I think we can still have them open with a limited number of people in them at the moment. But yeah, so there we go. Let's have a look. What else we got? Well, 550 staff. That's probably grown as well. Our R&D centered in Romania. We're actually writing software as well. As a great thing as a company, we write software as well. We've got some software called Advanced Steel written in Romania, and that's been rolled out through all our offices as well. Through our offices. But yes, we're busy. As it says there, 3,500 training courses delivered a year. It's amazing. We're busy on the training front. I'm going to be busy. So if I'm not training on site or in the offices, I'm on site in the offices training or on support. So my diary is filled with training right through the year. So that's good. In terms of what we do, we supply all of the Autodesk products, but also our Greytech Power Packs, and they are add-ons to the Autodesk products, to enhance features, linking from spreadsheets into the software, automating other processes as well. And because we are writing these Power Packs, then customers can say, well, can we have this in a Power Pack? Just help to automate things. So that really works well. We do simulation of the software, and so we take you all the way through. We'll handhold you through projects, help you implement BIM software, and so you're BIM compliant and all that lot. So we'll come into your offices and help you out. So yeah, busy. So yes, AutoCAD then. Good old AutoCAD. Been around for plenty of years. There are tens of thousands of users worldwide using AutoCAD. And quite often in office, you're just thrown at the deep end. There's the AutoCAD software, get on with it. And you have to ask your mates and your pals in the office for guidance on how to use it. And we do run training courses, of course, but people, once they get off the ground, they'll just keep using the software as they know it. And even though the company will be purchasing the software and upgrading through the years, you might not be aware of the tools that are in the software, in the most recent software. I mean, the latest AutoCAD software is AutoCAD 2022. There's a new version of software every year. So, it's a job in itself, keep up to speed with the new features in there. And you might think, well, yeah, selecting objects, object snaps, I can do all of that. Yeah, but are you aware of some of the other tools that are in there for snaps? So we're going to have a look at things like the different selection tools you've got. I mean, you probably know them already, to be picking objects, your crosses, your blue windows, your green, and that kind of thing. But I'll just do a recap over those and just show you the new techniques you can use. Object selection cycling, there's another one. Again, I don't know whether you're using it or not. A useful tool when you've got a stack of objects and you're trying to pick the one at the bottom of the pile. It can be a right pain sometimes. Quick properties, what's all that about? We all know about the properties palette, but this is like a customizable properties palette. Quick properties. And then quick select. What's that one then? You might not have even heard about that, quick select. Another tool there, adding selected. And the purge command. Yeah, we all know about the purge command, how it can strip the drawing file down to the bare bones. But have you ever used the purge command to actually select objects, or to count objects, or to find objects? There's a new one. And it's come out. It's not a new feature. So all these tools I'm going to be showing you today, they may well be in the version that you have. It's just that nobody's shown you them. And then your good old running object snaps that we're all familiar with. I'll show you some ins and outs of those. And You're running object snap cycling. Object snap cycling. Who's used that one? There's a new one potentially. Object snap overrides. Yeah, okay. And then object snap tracking. And again, these are tools that are not necessarily known about or used that much. I'll show you about them. And tracking as well. You know, if you're trying to get position an object a certain distance away from something else, then what people have done historically is create construction lines. You know, offset other lines, copy a line this distance away, copy a line this distance away, so you get an intersection, so you can snap to the intersection. But then you got to go back and erase all those construction lines. And it can be confusing sometimes, which is a construction line, which is one you want to keep and get rid of. With this tracking, you can track around the screen without limits on how far you track or which direction you track. So again, a potentially useful tool. So they're the kind of things we're going to be going through and I'll be showing you in this hour. Or, to be fair, I've not practiced this and practiced it to the nth degree, so I might run over, it might be a bit short, but it's been recorded so you can go back and look at it on our website later on if you want. Right, just turn this webcam off, you don't be looking at me all the time. I scare myself enough and I mind scaring you guys as well. So let me just turn this off. Here we go. So I've just turned off. I know, hang on. That's my screen. Turn off the webcam. There we go. I can hear you breathing a sigh of relief there. Right, so let's have a look. I need to, let's have a look. Next slide. I'll get back to the other screen. Yeah, so there we go. If you want to jot that down, there's my email address. So if you have any questions on any of this, or you want to see something in my future webinars, drop me an email and I'll brush up on the topic and I'll deliver a webinar. So if you're interested, if you are thinking, well, I could do with knowing about so-and-so, then I'm sure there are other people out there wanting to know about so-and-so. So by all means, drop me some suggestions of what you'd like to see for future webinars. Now, as I say, this is my webinar number 6, so I'm not very slick at them yet. If you look at my previous ones, then register with our guys at our office and drop me an email. I'll put you in touch with them. And then you can go and register and go online and view the ones I've shown previously. And as I say, I do get good feedback from my webinars, so which is nice. And there's my email address to drop me emails. Right, so I think that's it for that. Yeah, okay. So come off that, close that, and then get rid of that, and go into my AutoCAD. Right, now I think you can all see that. Let me just double check. Yes, I think I can see the same screen as you. There we go. Right, so I'm using AutoCAD 2022, but the majority of the things I'm going to be showing you today are in the earlier versions of AutoCAD. So it's not new features by any means. Now, if there is anything which is new, I'll certainly point it out and say, yes, this is new in such and such release. So let me just get the drawing open on the screen. I'm open already. This one here, this drawing open here. There you go. So just a random sample, well, not random, it's a drawing file there with some odds and sods on the screen, bits and pieces. So yes, now selecting objects, you see that prompt all the time. So there's all of my modify commands on the ribbon there, home tab, modify panel. And it doesn't matter which one I go into, copy, move, rotate, mirror, whatever. I've got the copy command. There's that prompt on the command line, look, select objects. Select objects. You see that prompt time and time again. You use it every day. When you go into AutoCAD, you will see that prompt on this command line every day. Now, I'm sure you're all aware that to select an object, you should put your cursor over it, wait till it pre-highlights, and go and click on it. And it shows you this dashed lines as you select them. So picking them one by one, nothing new there. Nothing new there at all. Okay. Now you might find that Sometimes you go to pick another object, and it deselects the first ones. Now that's a variable called pickfirst. If I just type the word pickfirst, and set it to 0, and then if I go into the move command and pick one object, then go and pick another one. No, it's not the pickfirst. No, hang on. No, it's not pickfirst. Oh, damn it. It's not pickfirst. Well, let me just go and double check. Options. God, that's a very good start, isn't it? Pick-add. It's the pick-add variable. Pick-add. P-I-C. Pick-add. Sorry. Yeah, my brain's in Monday morning mode still. Right, so I set pick-add to 1. Let's try it now. Pick-add. Click on one object, then pick the next object. No. So it's not pick-add. If I pick-add to 0, see these things have various settings. Pick-add. Let's try it now. Click on one object, pick the second object, and see how it deselects the other one. Yeah, I'm sure you've all had that appear. I get phone calls. I haven't had a recent phone call on that one. So there we go. Yeah, it's a pick-add variable. Okay, so just watch out for that one. It deselects. So if it's in options, so I nipped in there to find out what the actual thing was. In options, look on the selection tab, and there it is. Use shift to add to selection. Now that can get turned on. If you're in a routine in AutoCAD, then these routines in AutoCAD sometimes will turn settings on and off as they go. But if you hit the escape key halfway through a routine of, I don't know, it could be stretching, or it could be the array command or something. If you press the escape key halfway through, sometimes it can leave these variables in limbo. So watch out for that one. So pick-add, there it is, look. It's on 0 at the moment. So if I set it to 2, same as it was. And now when I pick one object, click, pick the next one, it picks them all, look. So yeah, picking them one by one. I'm sure you're all familiar with your boxes when you do if you pick away from an object, it's called implied selection. If I go across to the right, get a blue box, and there it's going to select everything in the room, look, that is entirely enclosed. Everything in the room which is entirely enclosed. And the command line tells you, whoops, if you're in a move command, for example, it'll tell you when you pick the mouse button how many it's found. It says 8 found. So there's a blue box going from left to right. If I go the other way, get a green box. And again, you'll all be familiar with this. It selects anything which is inside or is touching. Not a problem. So it's picked everything inside the room there with a green box. And again, it tells in the command line how many it's selected. Now, what if I wanted to avoid those light fittings? Well, in the later releases of AutoCAD, in the last few releases, if I go into the erase command, you get this lasso. Now, if you hold your mouse button down instead of releasing it, hold it down and go in a clockwise direction, you get a blue lasso look. You can put a lasso around the objects and avoid some other objects. So I want to avoid the lights. So the lasso, by holding that mouse button down, you can avoid those light fittings. Okay, now my finger's still held down on that mouse button. If I press the escape key once, changes to what's called a fence line. And I can drag that fence line through the objects, look. If I press the space bar again, it goes to a green lasso. So if you create the wrong colored lasso and just pressing the space bar once, it switches options, look, blue, fence line, or green. Okay. Now so that was making the lasso in a clockwise direction. If I make the lasso in an anti-clockwise direction, get a green lasso look, straight off, a green lasso. So it depends whether you go clockwise or anti-clockwise when you're creating the lasso. And again, space bar will cycle around the options. Okay. So that's the lasso. Now, if you're in one of those editing commands, when it says select objects, another option is this. If I go to move, copy, erase, whatever, and the command line says select objects, and you specifically want it to be a green box, you can type in the letter W and hit enter. Sorry, a blue box. Now, when I create my box, it's going to be blue, whether I go up, down, left, or right. So W will give you a selection window. Doesn't matter which way you go. Okay. By the same token, when it says select objects down there in a command, if I type in C for crossing and hit enter, now it'll give me a green box, whether I go up, down, left, or right. You get a green box. You're forcing it to be a green box. There's times when I want the box to go the other way, but still be a green box. So by typing in C for crossing, you can force it to be a green box. Okay. Now also, another option down there, when it says select objects, you can type in the letter F for fence line. So F, hit enter, and the command line now says specify first fence point. And it's a bit like that fence line. You're clicking straight line segments, straight line segments there, look, to select objects that your line is crossing through. Okay, that's a selection fence line, look. Okay, when you hit the enter key, it tells you how many it's found. Okay, so they're all the options that you've got when it says select objects. Your blue boxes, your green boxes, and your lassos. Okay, and forcing it to be a blue window, a green crossing, or that fence line. Now, another option when you are working in CAD for selecting objects, if I, for example, say move this, what shall I move? These two objects here, this one and this one, and move them from there down to there. I'm moving them down the screen, look, and hit enter. Also, I'll click to move them. And then I decide, well, I didn't really move those objects far enough, or I want to select all of those objects again. Now, if it was a really difficult selection set that you created, it can be a bit of a pain having to select them all again. So watch, if I say, no, I don't really want those. If I say go into the erase command, it says select object down the command line. If I hit the letter P for previous selection set, so letter P, hit enter, it picks those previous objects, look. And then I can erase them just like that. So I didn't need to go around and I didn't need to go around and have that complicated selection set again. I just type in P for previous and it picks up your previous selection set. Okay. Another option in there is if I draw some lines there, look, and then if I draw a circle there, look. Now if I go to the erase command and if I say erase, if you select objects down there, look, if I type in letter L for last, it picks up the last object. The last object. Hit enter and the last object disappears. I haven't found much use for that one. It's another feature, but that P for previous is quite good. But the L for last, well, okay, you could just go and pick on it, couldn't you? Okay. Now, when you are picking objects, if you're like me when you're working in CAD, there'll be a time, come on, pick first. I must have kind of picked my, right, so that's what the pick first is for. The pick first is whether you can run pick the object, then the command, or the command, then the object. So pick first, if I set it to, what the settings are, if I set it to 0, if I set pick first to 0, so if I pick in an object, this includes, yes. Okay, so now pick first is turned on. So yes, if you're like me, when you're working in CAD, there'll come a time where you'll pick some objects, maybe a difficult selection set, and as an item you didn't mean to select. So there I'm going to wipe out all the information in the middle in the room there. So I'll click everything, then I realise, oh, I've picked the door as well. I didn't really mean to pick the door. So I need to deselect the door. Now you can, if you just one or two items, just hold the shift key down and go and pick on the door there. Go pick on the door, look, and it's deselected the door or the light fittings. hold the shift key down and pick on the light fitting. It deselects them from the selection set. So shift key held down will remove them from the selection set. And you can see it's counting down the number of items on the command line there. You can also go into, well, you can put a window around them as well with the shift key held down, put a window around them if you wish, or a lasso around them to deselect them. So the shift key is held down. You've got all your selection tools, but they're all working in reverse, look, with the shift key held down. Release the shift key and it goes back into add mode again. So I can go and add them back in again, like that. Okay. You can also go into, if you like, a permanent remove mode. So R to remove. Now the command line says erase remove objects. And I'll say, well, I'll remove that chair there. I'll remove this setup down here. So I'm in remove mode. If I go back in letter A to add, I'm back into add them into the selection set. Add those two in there, add that one, and so on. So you can add, remove until you're happy, hit the enter key, and it strips them out. Okay, so that's the adding and removing objects. Okay, it's actually deselecting objects. Let's go to another drawing here. There's a drawing file here, look, a bit more complicated. Now I've seen some of our customer drawings, and honestly, you guys never cease to amaze me, the detail and how much information you can put into drawing files. You know, I've seen some real cracking drawings produced by our customers. You know, brilliant, really good stuff. But yes, the drawing files do get complicated, and I'm sure you've had the occasion where you go to select something and you pick the wrong item. Okay, because objects are overlaid on other objects. Here, for example, on this wet room here showing, there's a wall here, there's a there's a shower base, there's a dimension in there, there's a polyline around the room, there's all sorts of objects, they're all on top of each other. So the question is, how do you get the object that you want? How do you select the object that you want? Now you can start turning layers on off and that kind of thing, but has anybody used this tool down here on the status bar on there, a tool called selection cycling? Selection cycling. Here we go. If you pick that selection cycling tool, so I'm going to turn it on. So selection cycling is now turned on. So if I go to erase something and go near an object where there's a pile of objects, there, for example, can you see next to the cursor, you get a little, like a double box thing. So if I now click with the mouse, it comes up and says, yeah, underneath your click, there is a block, and it highlights the shower tray, look. There is an AEC space object, which is the polyliner on the room. There's an AEC wall there, or I misclicked, and I want to go and click on something else. So it highlights the items in there. So if I say, yeah, that's the one I want, the block. Okay, so it's now selected that shower tray, look. And the command line says, yeah, one found. If I put my cursor over where the dimension is, look, and click with the mouse, it says, yeah, there's a dimension there, look, the wall, the space object. Which one do you want? Well, I want to pick the dimension. Yes, I know I could have moved along a bit and picked it, but if selection cycling is turned on, it can help you in selecting objects. There you go, press the enter key, and it gets rid of those items. So that's selection cycling, object selection cycling. And it cycles around the objects which are underneath your cursor when you're picking. So if there's only one item, you don't get that double box. But if there's multiple items, then it pops up with that like double box next to your cursor. Selection cycling. Okay, so you can turn that on when you've got a very busy drawing. Quick properties. Now we've all seen the properties palette on the side there, also in the property palette on the side there, but there's lots of information in there. There's a tool down here on your status bar called QP mode, quick properties. If I turn that on, so quick properties is now turned on. Okay, so if I go and select an object, I'll go and pick this toilet here, for example, and it pops up. Oops. It should pop up. I'll pick onto dimension there, for example. Pick dimension, and it's come up there. Look, with the properties palette and this quick properties next to the cursor. Now, the idea of quick properties is you can tweak and tailor it so it only shows you the information that you want to see. Okay, now in the properties palette, it's information overload. Look at all the information in the properties palette there. Lots of information there in the properties palette. But with quick properties, you can customize it with just the information you want to see. Okay, and it's that button at the top there. So here it's set up showing the text color, what the actual measurement is, and any text override. If I click on where it says CUI, it goes into customize user interface dialog box, and you can turn on and off in there the different options. So down here, look, you can set what the fill color is, or the text color. You can turn these things on and off, or your position. You can trim it down so it doesn't show. So I have to turn my suffix on. If I apply on that and OK on that. So now, when I go and pick onto my dimension, if I zoom in, there's a dimension there, look. If I select my dimension, click, oops, missed it. There we go. There's a suffix, click in the box there, type in millimeters, and then it's put it on, look. Press the escape key and that disappears. So you can tweak and tailor that quick properties to show whatever you want. So that's quite a useful tool there, instead of having the information overload in your properties palette. Right, I'm going to open another drawing file and show you something called quick select. Quick select. Here we go. Drawing file here, look. Drawing file here. I just shrink that out of the way temporarily. Now we're talking about the busy drawing. Now we're talking about busy drawing. Look at this. Look at this drawing file here. Supposing in this drawing file, well, you've got some really small text in here, look. This small text. And this text is too small to read when you print it out. And the boss has said to you, Steve, I want you to go around that small text and make it a little bit bigger. So let's have a look, see how big this text is here. But leave this big text alone. These bigger bits of text, they're okay. Leave those alone. They're a height of 900. But this smaller text in here, just bump the text height up a little bit so we can read it when we print it out. See, it's a height there of 202. Now, I don't know what you guys would do at the moment with that, but if the boss said that to me and I didn't know about the tools I'm going to show you, I'd be on for days going around picking all this smaller text. Well, there is a tool to help you called Quick Select. And the Quick Select tool is on the top corner of your properties palette there, Quick Select, or on your Home tab, on the ribbon, in the corner there, on the Utilities panel, it's there, look. And what Quick Select does, if I select the tool, comes with a dialog box and allows you to select across the entire drawing, any text. So I'll filter out the text where the text height is less than, say, 300. Pick up just the small text and do an OK on that and let it do its business. Just sit back and already it has found 1,588 pieces of text where the height is less than 300. Okay. And now in the properties box, I can go and select the height there where it says varies and type in, I can make it all 350. Hit the enter key and it goes across the drawing and that's it. Job's done. As quick as that. Thousands of pieces of time. Now, to do that manually is an unthinkable task, isn't it? An unthinkable task. Okay, so yes, dead useful tool there. Quick Select. In a drawing file, if I was to, I can do it with anything. You can absolutely do it with anything. You can say Quick Select, pick up all the circles. Let me just see. If it's got a circle there, there's a circle there, look, where the radius is 402. That needs to be 400. So pick up all the circles. I'm just like a random thing here. I'm not really. In fact, it's picked on the current selection there. So there we go. Where the no, I'll just pick up on all the circles and whoops, pick up all the circles across the entire drawing. Circles where the radius is less than 450. And OK on that. Goes across the drawing, and it has found 10,000 circles. Holy moly! And I can say make the radius 400. OK, click the button, and it's done. It's done. It's finished as quick as that. Yeah. OK. So there we go. Right. Back to the 600 heating drawing. Now another tool which is quite useful for selecting objects is the ability to do a select similar. So here I've got, look at all these sockets in this building here. I want to count these sockets. So if I select one of them and do a right click and say select similar, button there on the right click on the mouse, select similar, it comes up and says, yeah, in that building there are 92 of those sockets. As quick as that. That's counted those sockets in the properties palette there. And because it has selected them, we can then start going, tweak them, change them around, erase them if we need to. Okay. Now, the question is, how did it filter them? Well, if I just type in SEL, there's the select similar option on the command line. And if I look at the settings, it's picking up on all the objects where they has a same layer and it is the same name. Now, if it was a block, for example, there'd be all the blocks of the same name on the same layer. Now, if I wanted to pick up, if I dropped one of those blocks onto a different layer, it wouldn't have picked it up unless I untick that, then it would pick it up. If I was filtering across, if I wanted to pick up all the blocks in a drawing file of a particular name, I would use the quick select, but that will pick them all up on the same layer unless you untick the boxes, as I say. So that's the select similar. It's quite a useful tool. Now, going hand in hand with that select similar is this. Notice I'm on a layer 0 at the moment. If I want to go and place another one of these sockets, for example, I'm going to place another one of these sockets. So if I pick this socket here, there we go, pick the socket, do a right click, and where we had this select similar last time, I can say add selected. So if I pick onto add selected, it comes with on the cursor look, and I can go and add another one of these sockets in. So click and place another socket on the wall there. And notice when I pick that socket, it goes in on the correct layer. It goes into the elect power G. So and I mean it works for anything. If I pick this multi-layer here, for example, and do a right click and do an add selected, even though I was on layer 0, I'm going to add in some more of these multi-layers, and they are going in on the correct layer. So that's that right click add selected. Okay, so there we go. There are some selection tools. Now, another way of identifying objects is using the purge command. Now, I'm sure you've all used the purge command to clean a drawing file out, purging the drawing down to the basics of it. But the purge command nowadays it was in the last few releases. P-U-R-G-E. I had to typically just type it. You don't know where it is in the command. It's the big letter A up the top left there. Big letter A. Come down to drawing utilities. There it is. In there you got audit, you got purge, and nowadays you got drawing compare as well, which is quite nice. Compare the difference between two drawing files. I'm not going to do that today. That's for another day. So the purge command then. Yeah, we all know about the purge command. And with the purge command, you can purge out any items which are not being used, as we all know. But what I'm going to show you now is this other tab that you've always had up there. You've always had this show non-purgeable items. So these are the items that your drawing needs to display. And of course, there's lots of them. There are lots of objects in there. Your textiles, the laser courses you're being used. These are all objects which are being used. Now, what should I do here? There's the blocks which are being used, and it lists them all in there, look. Now, I can come down this list here. Okay, there's quite a few in here. And there's a symbol here called a shaver socket. Okay. And it tells me on this side over here how many are being used. There's only one in this building. There's only one socket in this building. And it's on a layer called A elect power G. Okay. But whereabouts is that socket? If you go to it and double click, it takes you to it there, and it's already selected. So if need be, you can delete it, move it. Now that I've found it, I can say, well, I want one of those in my other room there. So right click, do an add selected, and I can go and place one of these. Whoops. So right click, add selected. There it is, and I go and place one of those over into the wet room. There we go. So quick and easy, and it goes in the correct layer. Okay, that was the purge command. So if I go back to the purge command, okay, and what else have we got in here? Some taps in here. There's one insertion, double click, and there's my taps, look. Okay, it shows my taps. So that's the purge command to be able to select objects. Okay, and then of course, once you have them selected, you then go through any of your editing commands. Okay, so that's selecting objects. Blimey, time runs away. I can't believe how quick these webinars go. Right, so next thing, your snaps, object snaps, back in that Sweet AM drawing. So your object snaps. Now we all know about our object snaps down here. Just fold that palette out of the way there. The object snaps down here. These running snaps on here, and as the name suggests, it runs from point to point. You all know about that one. Let me just put a line in there. Now, what I'm going to show you here is, first of all, an extension snap. So if I want to say draw a circle, and with my extension snap turned on, I'm panicking a bit now because of time. My extension snap is turned on. If I hover over this corner here and drag it out, you can see there's my extension snap showing, and it tells me how far I have extended away. So if I say, well, extend out there 900 and hit the enter key, it'll draw that circle 900 away from that corner. There we go. Now the extension snap will work at an angle as well. So if I've got another line coming from there to there, and say draw a circle, hover over that corner there, it'll extend in that direction, look, or it'll extend in that direction. It's as if you've extended those lines out. Okay, so if I say extend 1000 away from there, there we go, and draw the circle 1000 away. No construction lines, it extends that one line in that direction. Okay, now the parallel snap. Now we know we all know we can offset this line here, but what if you only wanted a short line that's not the full length? Well, using the parallel snap, and there's the parallel snap in here, look, parallel, turn parallel on, and say draw a line from here. Now go and hover over this line here, hover and move away, and there is the parallel snap, look. It's snapping parallel to it. But I only want to make it a meter long, so I type in 1000. There we go. Just draw on that line 1000 long, parallel to that other one. They're your running snaps. Now there's another snap called geometric center nowadays as well. If I draw a polyline, I go draw a polyline like that and close it. Where's the geometric center of this shape? Now, to be fair, I struggle to think of an example other than, imagine that's a big slab of concrete or a steel plate, and you want to lift that with a crane from a single point. Where would you pick it up from? Now, I know in reality you'd sling it from various corners, so you wouldn't use the geometric center to lift it from. However, I don't know, for machining purposes, if you're doing CNC machining, you may need to find out the geometric center of that. Or if this is a rotating mass, where is the center of this to rotate it without it all vibrating all over the place? Well, if I say draw a circle on the geometric center of this shape, there it is. There's a geometric center of that shape. And that's one of your running object snaps in there, look. The geometric center. There it is, geometric center. Okay. So that's the geometric center. Now, when you are snapping to objects, I'm going to go to my busy drawing again. When you're snapping to objects, if you're like me, sometimes it'll go to the wrong point. So if I want to draw a line in here or a circle in here, and I've got several object snaps set, you can see it's jumping around on all those different snaps that are in there. Endpoints, midpoints, there's all sorts going on in there. Now, before I click the mouse, if I press my tab key, it jumps to the next nearest snap point. So tab, there's an intersection, tab. It's gone to the end point of that bottom line now, tab, a midpoint, tab. Look how it's jumping around all those different intersections, all the different snap points with my tab when I'm pressing tab key one by one, gradually working out away from the center where my cursor is. So I'm pressing the tab key and click with the mouse, and it's got a different point altogether, jumping around to the one you want. So yes, if there are several snap points underneath your mouse, press the tab key, and it will jump around them in that area. Now, yes, I know you can zoom in and zoom in and zoom in to get the right one, but sometimes you need to snap when you're further away. So that's object snap cycling with your tab key. Right. Question. If you've got two objects like this, you guys, and I just say copy these two objects side by side from there, copied across, my polar turned on. I'm going to rush a bit now. Time's running out already, I can't believe. Question is, how would you draw a line directly down between those two objects there? Directly between those two objects there. Now, I know some of you would draw a line across the top and the bottom and snap midpoint to midpoint. Then erase the extra lines you've got. Well, let me show you a snap here which could help you. And these are called object snap overrides. If you hold the shift key down, do a right click. There are other ways of getting to it, but this is the way I prefer to use, the way I prefer to teach people. Shift key held down, right click on the mouse, you get a list of snaps. Now, these snaps here are what are called object snap overrides. And in there, you've got all your general snaps, plus some other snaps at the top there as well. Watch how this one works. So, for example, if I was going to draw a line, I'm going to go back into this busy area here. Draw a line from this midpoint in here. But when I go in there with my circle command, there's endpoints and midpoints and all sorts kicking off. But watch, if I say only look for, shift right click, only look for a midpoint. And now I can quite easily go and get a midpoint. And there it is, it's found the midpoint. Yeah. So shift right click will override, as the name suggests, my running snaps down here. I don't need to come in here to turn them off. So shift right click, I can say, look specifically for a midpoint or an endpoint or whatever. And what I want to show you here with these two boxes I mentioned a moment ago is I'm going to use one of these shortcuts in here called mid between 2 points. Watch how I use this. So I'm going to say draw line, and the line starts, shift right click, mid between 2 points. The 2 points being between there and there. So it's found that mid between 2 points, look, and come down to shift right click, mid between 2 points. The 2 points being this and this. And there it is. It's drawn that line without creating any construction lines. Mid between 2 points. Okay. So that's the shift right click for mid between 2 points. Now, another tool you can use is object snap tracking. I'll nip back to this drawing here. object snap tracking. How does that one work? Well, it works in conjunction with your running snaps down here, and it is this tool here, just to the left, look, just to the left of your snaps. If I click on it, that's turn it on. Now, it works in conjunction with whatever snaps are currently set. So, for example, if I wanted to place a light fitting in the middle of this room, the middle of the room is the midpoint of one edge wall and the midpoint of another edge wall. So here we go. If I say insert, no, come on. If I insert my light fitting, this is the new blocks palette. Insert my light fitting. And the light fitting is going to go in the middle of the room, which is between this midpoint of this wall here, and there's the object snap tracking and midpoint of this wall up here. And there we go, in the middle of the room, click with the mouse. And it positions that middle of the room there by tracking away with the object snap tracking from the midpoint of this wall and the midpoint of this wall here to find the middle of the room. So that's object snap tracking. Object snap tracking. Okay. Now, another tool you can use is called tracking, straightforward tracking. Now, this is a really useful tool to avoid all these construction lines. So supposing I need to place a down pipe here from the guttering on this building, and the down pipe is 200 down this wall and away from the wall by 100. Now, what you guys might do already is to offset this line down over and offset this line across to get a construction line down here. If they were crossing, you might have moved them as well to find that point. But what should I do here with this tracking tool? I can go to my circle command here and say, draw a circle. And the command line says, where's the center point? At this point, I turn on tracking. It's not object snap tracking. This is tracking with the letters TK. So Tango Kilo. And the command line now says, where is your first tracking point? Well, my first tracking point is this corner here. Click and bring my cursor down the screen. I can see it's going up the screen. So up the screen there, look, I'm going to come down the screen and type in 200. And now I come across the screen by 100. Now I've reached where I need to place my rainwater pipe. And I can type in the diameter. Well, I need to hit enter to finish tracking first of all. And the radius of this is going to be 50 for my 100 mil down pipe. And there it is. No construction lines. I can just place that rainwater pipe without having to go through all the offsetting command. I'll do it here as well. So draw a circle, turn on tracking, click the corner, go up the screen 200, come away from the wall 100. Hit enter to finish tracking and enter the same size down pipe. And there it is. No construction lines, nothing to go back and erase, and it pops those there in nicely. Okay. And there we go. We're in for time. Oh, look at that. Right. It's a couple of minutes to 11 o'clock there already. I can't believe how quickly that went. So let me just turn on my webcam again. Share my webcam. Come on. There we go. So there we go. That's whipped through that quickly. It did seem a bit of a rush there. Sorry, folks. But yeah, well, I hope you found that useful there. As I say, any questions or queries, my email address is on the end of that PowerPoint thing I did at the beginning there. So get in touch. You'll see my future upcoming webinars. I've got one this afternoon. One this afternoon on printing and plotting. You know, how long it takes to set your borders up in plotting, printing and plotting. You know, it doesn't print out properly. So that's my one this afternoon. I think there's another one coming up shortly as well. I can't remember what it is now. But yes, any if you've got any suggestions on future webinars, by all means, drop me an email, and then I'll put something together to show you on that one. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody else is going to be logging in at 11 o'clock to do another webinar, one of our other trainers. But yes, I hope you all found that really useful. And keep in touch. And all of this that I've been showing you here, this is what I normally push into my training courses as well. There's an essentials course, an AutoCAD workshop, an update course, whatever. Get in touch, and yeah, hopefully see some of you guys again. Fantastic. Okay, folks, thank you very much. Have a good day, and enjoy your AutoCAD. Cheers now. Bye.